We'd like to thank BetChrisCanada.net for their support of the Hockey Betting Podcast. I'm Brian Blessing in sunny Las Vegas.
And I'm Cam Stewart in cold Toronto, Canada.
If you love hockey and you're in Canada, and Cam is, by the All-Star break, even if you can't stop thinking about taking a vacation someplace sunny and warm, but you don't want to miss out on any of the hockey action, look for a BetChris near your next holiday destination.
BetChris is one of the leading sports books in the Western Hemisphere, with hundreds of sports betting locations throughout the Caribbean and Latin America.
Watch the game at a BetChris location. Food and drink specials and VIP lounges are available at many BetChris locations. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open your BetChris account.
Place some bets on your game and collect your cash at the window when the game is over.
BetChris offers single bets, parlay bets, teasers, and more on pregame and live odds for hockey and all your favorite Canadian and American sports leagues. And BetChris offers a variety of team and player props, including futures.
BetChris offers the best value odds on Canadian and international sports. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open up your account at a BetChris location. Deposit $750 or more and get up to a 40% reduced commission on your sports bets, up to minus 106 on single bets and parlay bets. That's the best juice in the biz.
So, if you're planning a trip to exotic locations from the Caribbean and Mexico to Peru and almost everywhere in between, the odds are very good. There's a BetChris Sportsbook where you're going on holiday. For more information about visiting a BetChris location while you're on holiday, or to listen to or subscribe to the Hockey Betting Podcast, visit BetChrisCanada.net. That's BetChrisCanada.net. Cam, you're Canadian. When you leave Canada and you're heading south, use the promo code PODCAST.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Thursday, October 10th, 2019. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
All right, folks, let me tell you, hockey season's here, and I can tell you hockey season's here because I'm sitting in Vegas, and it's 55 degrees, and 55 degrees in Vegas is like 20 degrees. I'm just looking up waiting for snow. Brian Blessing, Cam Stewart, he's in Toronto, has no sympathy whatsoever. Cam, I am bundled up like Nanook of the North here. After 109 degrees, you go down to 55. Let me tell you something. It gets your attention.
Yeah, you're complaining about Vegas heat. Come on, Blessing. What happened to you when you lived in Cheektowaga, Tonawanda? Come on, Buffalo boy. Get some nuts and figure it out. It's 60 degrees in Vegas, Brian. Who cares?
Buddy, your blood changes. I got news for you. I look good in a paisley print now.
Buddy, I that's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, it's getting a little cold. Like, and that's the thing, Brian. Like, Buffalo gets way more snow than even we get. Like, we get pelted. You guys, like, it's unbelievable. Like, cars are buried in snow. Like, you made a big change in your life, buddy. I got to hand it to you. No, but I'm done with winter too. Like, it's already fall. But hey, hockey's here, and you know what? The Sabres win in overtime.
Nicely done. You're right,
you, buddy. Right in fine form. I'm sick as a dog, but you know what? Rick Jeanneret, we cashed the ticket, and I got to tell you, Brian. That Vancouver Canucks Buffalo parlay the other night really came in. I should have smashed the Canucks all over the board, 8-2 over the Kings. You know the Kings aren't going back-to-back after they beat, what was it, Calgary? Yeah, they beat Calgary. They're not going into Vancouver and winning back-to-back on the West. That's not going to happen.
You know I could talk about the Sabres all day long, but I will tell you this. They're 3-0-1. And this power play.
That's what I was saying. Their power play is best in the league right now.
Their power play, Cam, it's at 60%.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
They've scored 8 out of 14 now, because there was a power play that expired 2 seconds before Miller set up Johansson for the game-winning goal in overtime, or it would have been 9 out of 14. It's unbelievable. And the Victor Olofsson kid that I told you about last year, he tied an NHL record. The first 6 goals of his career, he has 4 this year, 2 last year, have all come on the power play, and that ties a long-standing NHL record for the first 6 goals of somebody's career to all be on the power play. They get it around. I'll tell you, you're a fool if you take penalties against Buffalo the way that thing's going right now.
That's the thing. Buffalo's becoming, an over team. Think about it. They beat the Devils 6-2. Montreal 5-4 in OT. The defense is getting a little bit better. The goaltending still suspect, Brian, but this team can put up, 4 to 6 a night. So you got to start looking at the totals over with the great special teams of the Buffalo Sabres. I'll tell you, man, me and my buddy my buddy Visine Vince, he said it, the same thing. He's a Leaf fan. He's like, you know what, Cam? The Sabres are going to be a team I'm playing on a lot. And you told me that all summer. They're a young, hungry team. And if they can tighten up, Brian, on the back end, they're going to be lethal.
And the defense is better. The one thing, and I can tell you this, and we'll move on from them, although they do play tomorrow night, so we will touch base on them. But the funny thing is, I always say this, Cam, you and I know, you could take your analytics and your saber metrics and your calculators and, okay, God gave you 2 eyes. Use your 2 eyes, when you're handicapping. And I'm telling you, it's only 4 games. I've seen this before. You know who Vegas looks like, or Buffalo looks like? They look like Vegas 2 years ago. And I'll tell you why. They're rolling 4 lines with confidence. And it doesn't matter the score of the game. Kruger's putting 4 lines out there. And they're playing with speed. But anyway, they're one of the.
The only problem is they don't have Fleury and another defenseman.
They don't have a goalie. The goalie's the question.
They're good though, Brian. I got to tell you, they've been putting money in my pocket. So go Buffalo. What are we doing? How do you like this card? Anything catch your eye?
Yeah, I got a few. I'll tell you one thing. Let's start with Detroit and Montreal. Detroit's off to a good start.
Yeah.
They do lose to Anaheim, and we're going to talk about that because I had Anaheim in that game. Detroit, Montreal. What I saw from Montreal, though, these guys, you get to kick the door down and get a W, but they do not quit. They've been down in a couple of games and fought their way back and keep getting a point. They are fast, and I think you're going to get priced tonight because you were sitting there staring at the backup last night. So, I don't know, man. Like maybe an underplay in this game. I'm not going to play it. That's a big number. But by the way, at this late date, don't forget, this is Montreal's home opener.
I'm going to tell you something. This is a great spot for Montreal. As for Detroit, they win that game over Dallas. That Anaheim game got pretty tricky, Brian. They had a goal taken away, and then after that, Anaheim popped in a couple quick ones. We both cashed that ticket, winning 3-1. I like Montreal. Do I want to lay 75 cents? No. Yeah. That's me and you. It's going to be good for the listeners for the show because you're a puck line guy and I'm a parlay guy. So I'm either going to throw Montreal at -175 to a plus, and I'm thinking about taking them on the puck line too. Getting 45 cents back at -1.5 looks good to me. Sorry, Detroit. Good start for the Red Wings. They've been overachieving. Mantha looks like a beast. He scored 4 goals, all of their goals against Dallas. But I will take Montreal. You said it, home opener, crazy building, fans. Detroit coming in, Buffalo losing the other night. Yes, all signs point to the Canadiens.
Again, last week we alluded to this. And again, I'm doing some other platforms and dealing with a guy who's like big better, moving numbers and all algorithm stuff, and that's great. God bless. But he's talking about the hockey, and he's I'm going to start getting into hockey. I'm like, okay, good. And then he starts telling me about hockey. I'm like, okay. But the first period overs, I've done this now for 3 years, and it's like the hottest thing in Vegas now. The guys on VSiN were talking about, boy, these first period overs in hockey and I'm like, oh, great. And I'm like, but welcome to the party. This has been here for 3 years. But basically, when I get a big slate of games, Cam, I'm telling you, I do a 3-team parlay, first period overs, and first one of the year hit the other night. And well, why would you do the parlays? Because you're laying $1.70, $1.40.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you lose when Chicago was playing, Brian. Remember when Chicago had like no defense and they were scoring
18 in a row?
It was -1.5, like -240. Like, are you a stooge? You can't play that stuff.
You got to tie it up. You got to hook it up and identify. But I'm telling you, Cam, what happens? Even laying the big juice, all right, you're getting 4 to 5 to 1 back on your investment. So if you lose, okay, I lose a unit. But if you're laying $1.90 and you hit 2 out of 3, but you're losing money. So you just play the parlay to me on the first period overs and identify those. And the bottom line is, even a game you think is a dead under, the bottom line is in the beginning of games, somebody's got to get the lead, so they all go for it. So you identify those teams that are weak in their own end and the pace of play, and a goalie's going to beat you every now and again, but I would say, safe to say, I'm winning, I would say probably 2 out of every 3-teamer I hit in that regard. It's well worth it. It's a moneymaker.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I was a little bit slow to that party, Brian. I do it every once in a while. I don't know what it is for me, basically because I like play the board. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you. We're very similar that way. Like you'll play horses. We'll play golf. We do all sorts of stuff, college football, you know what I mean? And sometimes you got so much on your dance card, you forget about the first period overs, but they are good. But I'll tell you something, Vegas, New Jersey, all the books around, these guys aren't dumb anymore. You're not going to get those 40 cents that you talk about. People are hammering these things, and the juice is going to continue to go up. So buyer beware. You're not going to get those good lines anymore.
Right. Okay, let's go. Some of the games tonight, you asked some games I like. Here's one, and that is Edmonton and New Jersey.
Yeah.
You got to go over 6.5 in this game. McDavid and Draisaitl alone. Now James Neal is helping them out on a power play, got 4 goals the other night, but they remain a disaster in their own end of the rink. And Jersey doesn't have goaltending, and they got a lot of offense too. So I'm comfortable playing the over 6.5 in this game.
It's interesting too. It's kind of like a nice buyback situation. The Devils getting shut out to Philadelphia, right? So people are going to think, oh, the Devils don't score. But yeah, they should probably put up about 4 or 5 against Edmonton, and I think Edmonton can get 3 or 4 in this game.
I got to be over by the halfway mark.
I got to believe, though, Brian, New Jersey, one of the most hyped teams that we talked about fading in comparison to teams like Buffalo and the Rangers. We talked about the Devils were getting too much pub, and yeah, it's early, but no goaltending. You know what I mean? You pick up Subban, he's good, but defensively, he's still a liability out there. Great offensive guy, but this Devils team pissing away a 4-goal lead against the Winnipeg Jets, it's concerning. But you're going to find a desperate team. Edmonton feeling good about their last road win. I lean to the Devils and the over.
All right, Tampa and Toronto, your backyard. The funny thing, I had a funny feeling. The one that's going to start being 7, it will have to happen is Winnipeg. I mean they're scoring, but that defense is just a disaster. But I said, this is a game that you might see 7. Sure enough, there it is. But I would say this to you, even with all the myriad of offensive weaponry that is on the ice in this game tonight, you got Vasilevsky and Anderson. I'm not going near it, but I would probably lean under, to be honest with you.
I got to be honest, too. That thing pops up to 7. I see 6.5s, and a couple offshores. You guys got a 7 there? I'd take the under. When the Leafs and the Lightning get together, there's one thing that happens. Vasilevsky usually stands on his head. Toronto hit about 30 posts. I'll say this, though. You're going to get a really mad Tampa Bay team. You talked about it. Stamkos called out this team for being a bunch of jokers. These guys lose in the first round of the playoffs, and they're dogging it. How do you not get a shot on goal in a period? Well, it happened against Carolina. Leafs, on the other hand, coming off a bad loss. They should have beat the Blues in that game. I'm going to tell you, Brian, I'm looking at Tampa Bay. They historically go into Toronto and win that game, but not the best angle. If the Leafs would have beat the Blues, I would smash the Lightning tonight. Still like the Lightning, and I kind of lean your way with the under.
Well, you know what, Cam? Just on a common sense principle, Toronto is not off to a great start.
Yeah.
Scoring, but they have problems in their own end. But, just simple common sense. I'm with you. There's a team Tampa Bay put up 128 points last year. You're talking they're a pick.
I agree. Like that's the marketplace with the Leafs. You want to come back to the Leafs, but I'm not. I like Tampa Bay in this spot, and it's going to be bet tonight. Going to go against my team, Brian. Sorry, Shanahan and Dubas, you don't pay my mortgage. I got carpet, with big holes in it. I got, smash. Like you've seen my place. It's a dump. It's basically a glorified crack house with a nice background. When I do my gambling shows, like this place needs work, and I'm sorry, the Leafs aren't giving me a cent. Let's ride the Lightning tonight, Brian.
Yeah, but you have a nice mural.
Yeah, that's what I say. On my backdrop and mural. Yeah, gonna sell the mural. Honestly, it's unbelievable though. Like sometimes, you could be a homer, but you also have to find spots with your team. Like I know you don't like to go against the Sabres, but you'll find spots. You'll pick your spots. Like, hey, we can't change the outcome of these games, right? Hey, the Leafs. Yes, would I like to see them beat Tampa Bay? I just don't think it's a very good spot. If Tampa Bay was rolling, I'd consider it. But, man, they look angry and pissed. And a lot of Toronto guys, too, on that team, Brian. A lot of locals, Stamkos, all those guys. They put on a show. I think it's a great price. Yeah, actually, on my book, the Leafs are minus 115. Tampa Bay is plus. You're giving me even. Sign me up.
All right. Now, I think one of the things that we will do, hopefully, is provide you a couple of chuckles, but more than anything, we're trying to get you winning information. And I think one of the things that Cam and I have done And I think the put two half-wits together and you get a full wit, but I think we're both pretty adept at when you're going to make money. And a sport like this that I've long maintained is the ultimate sport to bet in terms of value of numbers. I hate value. There's no value in ripping up a losing ticket. But it's about getting in front of something and having that ability to look to the future. And I will say this, it's only a handful of games into this, but I had Anaheim at Detroit the other night. And the bottom line is, Cam, go back to last year, the first month of last year, John Gibson was standing on his head, and this team was just a train wreck in our end, and the poor guy finally wore out. But out of the gate, you got the same thing happening. Now they're at Pittsburgh tonight. I played Anaheim to win in Detroit. I ain't going anywhere near this. But this Pittsburgh team, you've got no Malkin, no Rust. Letang's playing 30 minutes a game. The problem is Anaheim can't shoot it into the ocean. So you've got Gibson going against Murray tonight.
I hear you, Brian. Keep digging. You're thinking under. Keep digging. Yes.
This to me is a dead under. And I can't imagine, honestly, I mean, we don't get the ability to say that, say it's a bad number. I mean, like the first Yankees-Twins game, because it's the playoffs, they made the total 8.
I know. Are these guys?
Are you kidding me?
I know.
The totals were 11 in the regular season.
That's a bad line. Like those guys, you don't see them make mistakes. That's bad work.
Number, right?
Yeah. Okay. If we're in that boardroom and I see a guy flash an 8 to me, I'm like, let's start at 9.5 and we'll work it from here. You cannot post an 8. You cannot post an 8. I like the under too.
What about Anaheim, Pittsburgh? You see,
I kind of lean Pittsburgh.
Isn't that a bad number though? 6? Shouldn't it be 5.5 at the highest?
Yes. On all fronts, I think it's a bad number. I think people think Pittsburgh at home. That's why it's shaded up to 6 from 5.5. If you do look at the juice though, 30 cents to the under. So they kind of think, if you want to bet the under, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium. But I like it. Pittsburgh's really struggling. They look old. They've been horrible, except for every one game. They played one good game this year against Columbus, and Columbus came out cold too. I'm actually kind of looking at Anaheim, but I agree with you. Under is the play in that game.
All right, I'm kind of on the shelf with the exception of one game later in the card, so we'll have at it with you. St. Louis and Ottawa. Blues get a win in Toronto.
I want to take Ottawa. I'm actually looking at Ottawa at plus 170. The Blues you beat the Leafs. Look ahead spot. Oh, it's just the Ottawa Senators. What are you going to do? It's like one of those things. Like this is one of those sneaky little games that can catch up to a good team. Brian, I'm really, really considering hitting the button and taking the Ottawa Senators at plus 170. I think it's a good price, and I think they can win the game.
And I think one of the reasons there are a lot of reasons to consider it, but the one St. Louis, they're winning low-scoring games, but St. Louis can't score.
That's the thing. St.
Louis can't score. So, I think
that might be my pooch of the night, Brian. I'm seeing it right now. I think Ottawa, I think that's if they lose overtime, it's going to be a tight game. I could tell you that. We're getting 70 cents on a home team, too. Sign me up. I'm taking Ottawa.
Pretty high-profile game here. Washington at Nashville. Washington, 2-game losing streak, bud. And you're looking at Nashville, $1.50, 6 to the under.
I'm looking at Washington in this game. Despite Nashville, kind of looking a little bit better against the Sharks, I haven't been impressed. Is it going to take a while for this team to gel? I got to be honest with you, Brian, too. Nashville will win more games when Saros starts. I think he's a better goaltender. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things like commitment, years of service. So you know what I mean? Pekka Rinne. Saros is better. When I watch him play, I think the team plays better in front of him. Washington at a plus 125 price? Yes. I think they're a good team, and they go to Nashville and win that game. I'm not going to say it's my favorite play, but you got to look at the dog. I'm not laying 45 cents with the Preds.
Nashville over the total, all three games.
And it's 5.5. Interesting.
Very interesting. There's a few 5.5, mostly 6. Minnesota, Winnipeg. Just know this. I think Winnipeg is coming home, probably feeling really good about themselves, a team that should be a disaster with what's going on their own end. The one thing you got is a ton of offense, but it's their home opener, and they're only, imagine this, home opener Winnipeg, This is how far the mighty have fallen, because this was the team the team for the last couple of years. It's your home opener against Minnesota. You're only laying 20 cents.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Minnesota, I don't know what to think of the Wild, another team that, I just don't think are very good. A lot of players on that team calling out each other. Zuccarello's pissed with his start. I don't know what to do with this game. Winnipeg, it's one of those games that looks too easy. I might not fall into the trap, Brian. I might pass on this game. I got a weird feeling Minnesota shows up.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website betchriscanada.net. Here's the other one I would say I'm inclined to play tonight, and that's San Jose and Chicago over 6.5. Dell is getting the start for the Sharks. Kane's back in the lineup. So listen, you got offense from San Jose. You've got Burns. You got Carlson. Let me tell you something. They're amazing offensive talents. These guys get worked in their own end. This San Jose team is a train wreck in their own end. And you got Kane, Taves, DeBrincat. You got some good young players. I think you get goals in this one tonight.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of looking at Chicago too, minus 115. I like the over. I agree with you. I think the Sharks. Brian, we talked about that. I think they're worse than people even think. Like, I think
they start 0-5. I mean,
they're bad. Like they're a bad hockey team. They're aged. Like they're so old. They're slower. They got a couple good guys on the team, the young guys, but the back end too. It's just one of those things. They don't look right. When you look at San Jose, you talk about the eye test. They get pummeled. They should be a more physical team. Chicago, on the other hand, DeBrincat, they got a lot of good guys on that team, and it's in Chicago tonight. It's tough though. You're right, Brian. Eventually, SJ Sharkey shows up and is very, very angry, but I don't trust them.
Well, here's the other thing. And you got a couple of weird footnotes to this game, Cam. This is only Chicago's second game, and it's their home opener. So Jim Cornelius would be singing the anthem. That's awesome. And they're coming back from Europe. Now, that didn't seem to bother Philly, did it?
No, it didn't. Philly looked great after they came back from Europe, and I think that's kind of being factored into the line. Probably would have been about Chicago 20-25 cents instead of 15. But you know what, Brian? I'm with you. I think maybe we can get some fireworks in this game with the over. And I lean Blackhawks. There's something wrong with San Jose, and until they correct it, you got to fade these guys.
Then we go to Calgary. Cam,
this is another team.
Calgary's at Dallas.
They suck. No, I'm Dallas. I'm on Dallas.
You know what? But what were they thinking? I get both guys were pedestrian, but what could they? I know what they were thinking. Oh, Kachuk and Lucic.
Yeah, get tougher. Yes,
they got fleeced in that deal.
Listen, Brian, I'm 270 pounds. A redhead with blonde eyebrows. I got a gut hanging out. You see me, I could probably throw back 30 beers, and I can think, I'm not even joking, almost beat Lucic in a race, and I haven't played hockey in years. He is so slow. He's got cement blocks for skates. I'll tell you, man. Dallas, too, they've lost some heartbreakers and stuff. Calgary losing to the Kings. They're going to have some ill will and some anger because both of these teams not really out of the gate well, but Dallas at home at a pick'em, I got to take the Stars in this spot.
All right, my friend. Then we're looking at Boston and Colorado.
Oh, God. What do we do with this one? Boston's on fire. The way they came out against Vegas, that game cost me money. I've had a real good start to the hockey season. That one hurt.
I was dead wrong in that game. I had
2-0. Oh, yeah. I know. We got smacked twice. That's tough. Boston's gritty, man. I still think they're pissed off about that loss of the Blues in the Stanley Cup final. All their veterans, they're
fast.
Yeah, they didn't party over the summer. I think they hit the weight room. That's the type of professionals they have on
Here's the rub, bud, and I would say this. Full marks to them. They played their lungs out. Now, Rest got hurt at the end of the game with Vegas. So you're going to see Halak. Big deal. I mean, Halak got a shutout at Arizona, so I don't think, the drop-off there to me is not that significant. But Colorado's 2-0. 5-3 win over Calgary, 4-2 win over Minnesota. This game will be played at a breakneck pace. The one thing I would say, Boston's yet to be home. This is the end of a 4-game road trip. Now, they could be all fired up, but I think, they're feeling like they're playing with house money. But a lot of times after a long trip like that, sometimes these guys, they get on the ice and their head's already on the plane. I agree about that.
I agree with that. And Colorado, good home team, Brian. You talk about it. Altitude, Boston already playing a lot of games. And as you said, man, they've looked great. Yeah, this could be a letdown spot for the Bruins at a pick 'em price. Colorado's a very good hockey team, and the line is a pick 'em because people respect Boston. Probably would have made it Colorado 25 cents, right? So, yes, I when I look at this game, I believe the Avalanche are the play there, but it's tough. Betting against Boston, other than the Stanley Cup final, Brian, it's a tough thing to do. These guys, man, you got to call them out. I don't like the Bruins, but they're damn professional. They're very, very good at what they do.
I don't think I'm going near this one, Cam, but Vegas at Arizona, Fleury versus Kemper, two good goalies. Total's 5.5 for one reason only. Arizona just can't find any offense yet. That being said, Nate Schmidt is out, and Vegas treated the puck like it was radioactive in their own end against the Bruins. But I think Vegas off a loss. By the way, that stood to reason, and I was leery of it and played the total and was wrong. But Vegas invested so much and waited all summer to kick the hell out of San Jose. That was a letdown spot.
Yeah, good call.
Lead, and then they fell asleep. I think Vegas comes back with a real sense of focus here. You know what? If anything, I could see the puck line being in play here for Vegas at probably plus $1.80.
Yeah, the thing is, Brian, I'm going to tread lightly with this game due to Arizona's tough losses, 1-0 to Boston. They haven't really come out of the gate. Vegas coming off. If Vegas would have beat Boston, I'd be on Arizona tonight. You know what I mean? Because that's a game I think they'd take a little bit lightly. But the way Boston beat them, I'm scared. Vegas has the talent, but don't sleep on Arizona. You know, they played Boston really tight in that 1-0 loss. They're still a good team. I'm actually surprised. Thought they score a few more goals, but they've tightened up. I think this is a dangerous game. I lean Vegas, but I'd watch out for Arizona. They could be in a good spot tonight.
All right, but let's very briefly dive into some of the games that are coming up. Florida's at Buffalo tomorrow. We already talked about Buffalo.
I hate to say it. I'm on Florida there.
Florida
I'm on Florida that game. Yeah.
Wait to hear this. Buffalo, I think, is 1-8 in their last 9 against Florida.
Also, Florida, that loss they had when, that was the only game I had wrong the other night, too. I was feeling really good. I'm like, wow, it's 5-0, and they pulled the goalie already. It was just a deplorable, horrible, one of the worst performances I've seen. I can't believe they got shelled in that game. Who they played? Carolina. That's right. Carolina just kicked the crap out of these guys. I'm like, what? You could tell. Road game going into Buffalo. Buffalo feeling good, playing better at home. I like the Panthers.
All right, bud. Full disclosure, right on one, wrong on the other. I mean, way wrong. Tomorrow night, you've got the Islanders at Carolina. And I said, listen, the Islanders had a us against the world thing with Tavares leaving and Trotz, but they had a nice goalie tandem. The goalie tandem's not there anymore. I thought they were going to struggle this year. And I thought Carolina's thing, honestly, I thought maybe there's a flash into Pan City. These guys are a machine right now.
They're unbelievable. That, as I told you, that Florida game, I was flabbergasted. I was slack-jawed going, are you kidding me? Florida at home, and you guys, they just got pummeled. It was 5-0 before Florida even knew what happened to them. Revenge spot for the Islanders after losing to the Canes. Who knows? But the bunch of jerks, those Carolina teams, Brian, they're 4-0. Do you think they maybe once you start? That's the thing about the winning streak. At 2 and 3, you're kind of whatever 4. They're hey, can we get to 5? Can we get to 6? I gotta believe it. And that home ice advantage in Carolina, the Caniacs, the building's rocking, man. I kind of lean Carolina over the Islanders. What do you think?
Oh no, Carolina's just they're probably the over too. I mean, they're just scoring in bunches. That's nuts. Hey, so and then on Saturday, just one I wanted to throw at you. I'm like, what did Philadelphia do to the NHL? They start in Europe. They beat Chicago 4-3. All right, so you come home, you get the break, catch your breath. You beat New Jersey 4-0. And then they send them to Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton. I think these guys are going to
You know what they did wrong, Brian? They care more about that damn mascot, Gritty, and, Gritty's at a wedding or Gritty's at the baseball game. Hey, Gritty, come to my birthday party. Now they have a room where you can, smash stuff. They call it the Rage Room. Hey, here's a tip, Philadelphia. How about you talk about your friggin' hockey team, you bunch of morons? It's unbelievable. These guys have every, thing that's, it's frills this and come to this. How about you talk about your hockey team? You know what I mean? I got no sympathy for the Flyers. Go to Vancouver.
All right. Well, the funny thing is about these European games, it can really have an impact on your season. So, and Philly seems to have gotten through this, but now we'll see on the road trip. But Buffalo's got to play Tampa Bay back-to-back games in Stockholm. So to accommodate that, and it could have been cataclysmic, but I think it's actually turning into a good thing for Buffalo. They're playing 12 games in 23 days. You could play yourself out of the playoffs, but if you're playing all those games and you're playing well, I guess the other side of it is you can rack up points, but then you wonder about what happens on the back end of the thing. But Bill Foley, the Golden Knights owner, came in and did my radio show yesterday here in Vegas. He was in studio for the hour. The guy's hilarious, and it's amazing. I mean, these owners, Cam, they're the, Yogi Bear hibernating. They're not accessible. This guy's front and center, and he's out there, and he'll tell you anything. And I specifically asked him about down the road. I said, what do you make of these overseas trips? He goes, hate them. I said, it's an absolute nightmare. He goes, it derails your season. But then the funny thing is, I said, but if the league says they want you to go, can you refuse? And he pauses and he looks at me, he goes, I can't say.
Yeah. Yes. If you make a big enough stink, they'll say, hey, you know what, Vegas, you're okay. Hey, let's send the Flyers to Europe. That's what they do, right? Like whatever team doesn't protest the most, they can go. Is that the way it works? I'd have to believe that. I'd have to believe that too. But I'll tell you, on that night there, Brian, just looking ahead to Saturday night, there's a few games there. What was I looking at? What is Vegas going to Calgary? I think they're a team that I'm going to be fading a lot this year. I think there's a perception that the Flames are good. I think they're okay. They can score in bunches, but there's a lot of problems with that hockey. They're not tough at it. Yeah, you bring in Lukic, but he can't skate. Big save Dave. Rittich, he's hot and cold. There's Calgary's one of those teams. They're very flaky, and I don't like following teams like that. Vegas might actually put those guys in the wood chipper and win a 6-2 type of hockey.
I'll throw one at you. Look all the way ahead to Sunday, and then obviously we're back on Monday, and we'll look ahead to next week. But Vegas plays. You mentioned the game back home playing Calgary. So they're playing every other night, and I'm the biggest proponent here, saying I don't know what they've been thinking the last 2 years. There's not been a lot to criticize about Vegas, but they ride Fleury way too hard.
They do.
It's about having this guy fresh at the end of the year. So now I'm this big proponent of you got to get this guy rest, but this week I'm all in playing him every other day. You play against Arizona, you play against Calgary, and to me, I don't think there's any doubt you're playing Subban Sunday at L.A., so I would look now. L.A. historically, I think this is a different team. McClellan's got them playing up tempo. You're going to have Vegas's backup in there. I think that could be an over game.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's the thing. Vegas, they know how to beat the Kings. They can run them out of the building with their speed. I agree. Subban's going to let in a few more goals than Fleury. Who's going to start for the Kings? Campbell. Yeah. It looks like that game will definitely go over the number. I could see 5-3, 5-4 type of game, a real shootout, pond hockey, shinny. Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I absolutely agree with that. And I got to tell you something, though, just before we wrap up the show. Every year, do the people in Toronto get drunker and drunker and drunker, hit the strip club, hey, baby, and write out the schedule on a napkin? I've never seen so many stupid – you got 3 games here, you got 2 games here. Hey, how about 5 or 6 games, 7 or 8? Balance it out. I'm looking at the schedule. What, you afraid of Monday Night Football? There's 3 games there. People who watch hockey will watch hockey. And if they got the football game on, they got the other game on the other channel. It's guys, get it together. Me, you, and Morency wasted, you know what I mean, off a bender, Brian. That's what they do. I really believe they go to the strip club, get absolutely annihilated, get out the napkins and go, here's your schedule, guys. See you down the line. It's embarrassing. I love hockey, but their schedule is awful. Your take, Brian.
Well, no, I agree with you.
It's pathetic.
I'm trying to, okay. Is it Columbus Day? Is that what we're dealing with? I'm looking Monday, and we got all these day games.
Oh, yeah. It's Canadian Thanksgiving and American Columbus Day, right? Our Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
that's our Thanksgiving
Columbus
Monday, right?
Day. Yeah, how about that? Monday, we got a lot of day games.
You know what we got to do? Yeah. We'll talk about this one, but yeah, we gotta fire it up a little bit early for the show, Brian. I'm thinking maybe we got to do something on Sunday, brother. Sunday night and bang off Monday. There's a lot of action on Monday.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it bright and early Monday. But I'll tell you, so Monday it will be, as we talk hockey, to be the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, and Cam Stewart.
Exactly, buddy. Yeah. What a loser I am. It's Thanksgiving and I'm going to Red Lobster. for Thanksgiving.
By the way, see, this is what, and I do this with love because I mean this sincerely. I think the world of you. You're one of my best friends in the world. But damn Canadians, I tell you know, at the when the playoffs get here, and you're a Leafs fan, the Leafs lose to Boston. Then all of a sudden you're a Calgary fan. Then Calgary gets eliminated. Canadian fans haven't won the cup since '93. But then all of a sudden, St. Louis wins, and you got 14 guys from Canada. Yeah, that guy from Belleville, I won the cup. I mean, that's so unfair. Now, what is also unfair? I'm whining because I'm jealous.
Yeah.
You guys get 2 Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
You guys have Canadian Thanksgiving. God bless.
Knock, Brian. You're Canadian, basically. Paul Hockey, why don't you just take Thanksgiving off like I do and have 2 Thanksgivings, right?
I know. You get 2 Thanksgivings.
I don't get it off, though, from work. We only take U.S. holidays at work. So we work Thanksgiving, and we get the U.S. one off, but it doesn't stop me.
But you're getting 2 turkeys?
I got a 20-pound. I got a bird sitting in the sink ready for me to put a big knife in its neck and giblets. I'm going to go wild on that thing, Brian. I'm going to stuff it. I'm going to make mashed potatoes. That's the thing. I might gamble, but man, I love to cook too. You've seen me. I like to cook and I love to eat.
Do you use the Pope's nose as a dental floss?
I've been noticing it, Brian, as I'm getting older. Lisa told me, she's like, I go, honey, how come I got like all these weird things in the back of my, like I got pieces of steak back there now. I'm like it's crazy. As you get older, your teeth move, man. And I just, every day I got something back there because I'm a meat eater, man. My molars are taking a beating.
All right, we'll wrap this up in advance. Wish you a happy Thanksgiving. But I got to tell you something. I mean, I bitch all the time. My wife's name's Marie, but you call her Rhonda. So I bitch to Rhonda all the time. What's the deal? We love Thanksgiving and the turkey, and how come there aren't like 3 or 4 turkeys in the rotation all year long? I don't understand why that ain't a regular thing.
I agree, Brian, but you know what I do? Because we should do the gambling shopping hour with Cam. Once those supermarkets, I'm already eyeing them like a hawk. I'm like a seagull waiting for somebody's dropped hot dog on the street meat like Phil Kessel. I'm just waiting and ready to pounce because next week after Canadian Thanksgiving, the overstock goes on sale. I'm getting turkeys for like $6. I buy like five or six of them, pop them in the deep freezer, and I have turkey every few weeks. Why is it just for Thanksgiving? It's a beautiful
stuffing's key, man. I'm telling you, she makes a sausage stuffing with
I like that.
Sausage. Oh,
you had me at sausage. I like stuffing to begin with. You're going to throw sausage in there? God, I might fly to Vegas just for the chow.
Are you old enough? Do you remember? I mean, probably not old enough. Maybe whether or not it was on in Canada. But do you remember the Wayback Machine, a TV show called Supermarket Sweep?
Oh yeah, Supermarket Sweep. My buddy was on it. Yeah, it's a Canadian game show.
You'd have been like the Vegas dude that was on Jeopardy that couldn't lose. On Supermarket Sweep, you would have been a 1-9 shot in a head-to-head matchup. You going down the meat aisle with in inertia with the.
You're right, Brian. Roast beef, rib cap off, $5.99 a pound. Stovetop, 88 cents. Can of corn, 52. Yeah, ding, 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 ding. Like I literally would get 40 items and be within like $1. Trust me. No, I love the grocery store. I actually hung out there yesterday. I had so much fun just staring at the turkeys. I'm just a weirdo, but I love grocery shopping.
You're the man. We love talking hockey and turkey right here. And we'll do it again on Canadian Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Brian.
You've been listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website, BetChrisCanada.net.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At BetChrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.